It is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That is brand new stuff from the band Weapons of Anew. The name of that tune was Blood from Stone. The name of the album is The Collision of Love and Hate, and the vocalist is somebody that some of you probably remember from a million years ago, and he's actually been on the show twice before, but he's back and sounding better than ever. It's the vocalist of Weapons of Anew. It's Ray West. Ray, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. A million years ago, you're hilarious.
Well, dude, I mean, what was Spread Eagle, 1990?
We invented fire.
You literally were squeezing blood from the stone back when the stone was invented, right?
That's funny, yeah. I love that song.
Nice.
Got a great groove to it.
Well, dude, you're obviously no stranger to the industry and to bands and for you especially, to trying new things. So let's maybe start there talking about Weapons of Anew, which for people that may not have followed your career closely will think that it is something very new and very different for you.
Well, yeah, because I think this is a natural progression of where I'm at as a singer. I think for me, everything seems normal. You know, I didn't do anything. I didn't set out to change anything or reinvent the wheel. I'm doing what I do. I think I've just learned to do it a little better than I used to.
Sure.
And I think this is the evolution of where I'm at. You know, it's a natural evolution, I think, of where I'm at vocally and writing-wise and phrasing. I really haven't changed much. I just sort of adapted to what's around me. You know, I'm honestly like a student. I think I'm a student of rock and roll.
Sure.
You know, I know what's out there, and we didn't set out to make a record that was new or, you know, not new. It's new, but it's not different.
Right.
We just wanted to be ourselves and stay as true to ourselves as possible.
Sure.
So, I mean, I did the Spread thing back in the day. That was kind of like we call that New York street metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that people used to classify us with like Guns N' Roses and Skid Row and stuff, bands like that.
Sure.
Between that, I did a record called APW, where I think I've got to stretch my legs a little bit and do some more, a little heavier, if you will, melodic stuff. Mm-hmm. And now this is just, it's what it's led to.
Sure. And
I hope that makes sense to you.
No, it does. And the thing, you know, and I guess what I'm trying to play to is more perception than anything else, because for a lot of people, they're going to remember Skid Row Ray versus today. You know, and
right.
That's totally not an accurate perception at all, because you have done other projects, you have had other releases, and just because the mass media didn't pick up on them doesn't mean that anybody that was a Ray West fan hasn't been able to follow your progression. Does that make sense?
Yes, thanks to social media. Yes, big time.
Certainly.
Big time. So I've had people that are just like, you know, wow, you've really grown as a singer and all that, and it's a real. For me, it's all positive, and I'll take the compliments.
Sure, definitely, man. Well, Ray,
I used to have a very hard time taking compliments. I don't anymore.
Well, you know what? We get older and we get softer, right? We just learn to accept the love.
That's right, man. Wisdom. It's called wisdom.
Right, definitely, man. Well, dude, talk a little bit about yourself coming into Weapons of Anew. How did you enter the band, and how do you know Freddie and all that stuff?
I think I was contacted by Chris, Man-Free First. Chris contacted me through Facebook, of all things.
Okay.
And, you know, I just happened, you know how Facebook is. Sometimes you just hit people back on a whim, and sometimes you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those days I was like, you know, I'm going to write this guy back. And he sounds like he's got something going. And we got on the phone. He sent me 2 tracks, 2 very bare tracks. And then he said Freddie would be calling me.
Okay.
And Freddie called me, and we got on the phone. We talked for like 4 hours, Freddie
Nice.
and I. It was ridiculous. And it wasn't, you know, maybe with those 4 hours, 15, 20 minutes was music.
Okay.
Then it was like, you know, the things that we liked and disliked about music, the climate of music today, and how it was, and what we've done in the past. The rest was all about life and our kids and you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We just talked about everything.
Right.
It wasn't your typical, you know, just come on in and drop in and we'll jam. It was, we just talked like we were best friends for like years. It was crazy.
Right. Definitely.
And he invited me out to the house.
Okay.
And I think Reno, the bass player, came to get me. I think I'd come from Brooklyn. I'd taken a subway, and then the PATH train out to Hoboken. Then it was like another hour and a half to his house. It was like a long day. You know what I mean? I got there, and we just went right to work. We just hung out, and, you know, we hugged it out and chatted for like half an hour or so, and then it's like, let's go jam. I think the band was just created right then and there. We just got into it. We had this. We have a song called Kill Shot, and there was a rhythm track that was close to what we had, and we just sort of jammed on that. I scatted, and we just started writing right there.
Wow. So what,
I never had such an easy task before. It was really easy.
So what was it about the riff or that vibe in the room or whatever it was? What was it that made you think, all right, this is exactly what I'm looking for right now?
Well, I think what happened was, you jam with the band, and as a singer, I think Freddie was adapting to what I was doing rhythmically and phrase-wise, and I sort of worked with him. It was just a back-and-forth thing. It was like communicating back and forth, and he just understood my phrasing and where I was going.
Sure.
And he made it real easy for me to get there. So it wasn't like we were in a box or anything. We were just totally free to do what we wanted, and it just so happened that we wanted the same thing, and it came out really cool, in our opinion.
Sure, definitely.
I think it's rare you work with someone, and I don't mean to go on and on, but it's rare that you could work with someone and, you vibe just so easy within the scale of what you're playing. It's pretty awesome.
No doubt, man. And that really shows up on the record, the collision of love and hate, because it does not feel forced at all. If it does nothing else, whether people like it or they hate it, they are definitely going to know that this is an organic recording, because it definitely feels like you guys didn't piece part everything together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big time. We tried to capture what we wrote by recording it right away.
Okay.
But by that, not just software and saving it for a rainy day. Like when the energy was great, that's when we went for it.
Sure.
So yeah. I'm glad you said that, because it's hard sometimes to do this thing. It takes you have to have a lucky combination of people together that can make this kind of thing happen.
No doubt, man. And that's it. And that's, we talk about it all the time here on the show, is like so many bands that, all have great musicians and can't do it because there's just that piece, that element of the right people in the room at the right time that is missing a lot of the times. It doesn't sound like you guys have that at all.
Yeah, it really has to just work together. I'm lucky. I just feel very lucky.
Sure.
To have this collection of songs, and to then there's the recording process itself, which is very like putting yourself under a microscope and then literally beating the shit out of yourself to get something on tape.
Right.
To get it right. We're all perfectionists. I have a bit of a perfectionist complex, and that can hinder me sometimes and be a block sometimes. So it's really hard for me to fight that.
Sure, definitely. Now
and let things just be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, it's your art. I write books outside of radio and whatnot. I write books, and I'm the worst at that. People always come back to me and they're like, oh, well, this is written right, or this is not, or whatever. And I can't stand it. As soon as I put it out, I hate it.
Everybody has an opinion on what you're doing. Everybody can say you do it better, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or they'll tell you that it's great, and meanwhile you'll look back and go, well, if I was doing it again now, I would do bup, 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 bup. Whatever. I'm never satisfied. So I totally get what you're saying.
It's the hardest thing to leave something on the table. It really is. It's hard to walk away from some. I mean, there's stuff on this record. I'm like, on this, if I had one more day,
right.
If I had one more hour, and that'll just nail it. At you for days and days and days and years and years and years.
Yep, exactly.
You got to let it go.
Yep, I hear you, man. Well, dude, talk about the lyrics on this record, because it seems to me, and again, outsider looking in, like this is not surface level stuff in a lot of the songs. It seems like a lot of this feels a little personal. Is that indeed true, or is it just you did well at writing stories?
I find it's the best way for me to write is from a personal point of view, and I don't mind digging deep and journaling whatever's going on in my soul and putting it on paper. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm a poet, so I just go with my gut.
Okay.
And I try to best paint the best picture I can, and I usually. Hopefully my point of view on things will connect with other people. You're not going to connect with everybody.
Right.
But I try to lay it out there where at least people can take what I've written and make it their own. So there's a million ways to look at something. I try not to dictate. I'm not a storyteller, but I think it's from a very personal point of view. I've been through a lot. It's my perspective on how life works for me. And I just hope that communicates, that connects with a lot of people.
No doubt, man. Well, one of the things you guys have done, Ray, with the new release, outside of the release itself, is you guys have done this video series, which is has begun airing on YouTube, and it shows the process of putting everything together from the studio and now with touring and whatnot, and watching the videos. Everything comes off like here's a bunch of happy guys doing their music and enjoying what they're doing. The reality is when you get into the studio, though, and I know this, and I think most people do, the best creativity comes from banging heads and working through disagreements. Was the recording process for you guys simple, or was there a lot of challenge that made the material better as you went along?
We all challenge each other to do better.
Okay.
No one gets away with anything. It's a really humbling experience, especially with this crew. You put your balls on the table, they'll pretty much get busted for any reason. But we made it. Everybody got broken down, not by everybody else, but you go in there. It's a process that really just puts you under a microscope. You are naked, and being naked in front of this bunch is pretty hilarious. But it took a lot of hard work. There's a lot of takes. We with James Murphy producing, James is very meticulous,
right?
And as we all are. So you get that kind of stuff in the room. It's definitely wasn't like we just threw it out there and it magically appeared. It definitely took a lot of work, a lot of banging heads. Sometimes I'll do vocal and the guys will be like, "Oh, that's great. Don't change the thing." And I'm like, "But I want to change it." They're like, "No." And then there's times where it's like, "Dude, really?" I'm like, "Okay, I'll work harder at it." I don't think I don't fart rainbows, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of hard work. It's because I record now with the mindset that it's going to go out hopefully for people to listen to it, and with that mindset, you really want to do the best job possible. Mm-hmm. But we try not to let it go out. We try not to let it leave the table unless it's the way we like it. So it's got to sort of it's got to pass the litmus test.
Sure, definitely, man.
But do we challenge each other? Yes, we do.
Sure. Now, Ray, Weapons of Anew, you guys are bound. I mean, it's bound to happen that you guys are going to be judged against your previous bands, because not that any of them were the Rolling Stones popular or anything, but certainly Spread Eagle was known, Darkest Hours known, Havoc Hate had an audience as well. So people are going to compare to those bands on some way, shape, or form. Is that fair, or does that just straight up hurt a new band that is going with new ideas?
I think if what you've done in the past has a level of, I'm proud of the work I've done in the past.
Sure.
So that doesn't bother me. It's going to happen anyway. And to me, there's two kinds of people. There's the people that are going to like what you do, and people that don't. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. I think, the past work is what it is. I'm able to separate it. I think this is a progression from all of our past work. For Freddie's past, my past, Chris Norris's band, Darkest Hour, I'm a huge fan of.
Sure.
And I listen to them quite a bit. So to be in the band with him is pretty special. I don't think it hurts. We're going to find out.
Right.
I think we can only do better. I think you can always grow. I think you can always be better, always try harder, and just take your instrument and present it the best way you know how. I'm just being honest.
Sure.
What we're doing is an honest, sincere effort. And back in the day, you kind of have youthful exuberance and youthful energy, and you try to use all that. You try to use the experience to make this happen. It takes all your life to get that first record done. And this is just putting our lives into this record. I hope that makes sense. But it's been an intense thing, and I don't think the past should really matter on this one. I think it's just a growth.
Right. Definitely, man.
God, I hope that makes sense. I can ramble, man.
You and me both, man.
I can ramble it on, bro.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, you guys obviously did a very tiny, small first tour with Alter Bridge. Jesus, dude, that's a hell of a large band to do your first gigs with. Talk about that tour, right, and the lessons that you learned from starting out, in front of a lot of people immediately.
Well, I think. And the funniest thing was about that is that none of us had ever played together, in that kind of environment. Mm-hmm. So the guys really didn't know what I was going to be like on stage. So there was a period of like, you're going to be all right. He's going to be okay. What's going to happen when we get up there?
Right.
And I think that forces you to work at a high level. It's like, you train for something all your life, and you just have to be ready. So preparation meets luck, a little bit of talent. You just have to be ready for those kind of moments. So, man, it was big for us because those crowds that come to the Alter Bridge, they pack houses every time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you walk out and there's like 1,000+ people in front of you. And sometimes 2,000. You're like, holy shit, man, this is really happening.
Right.
I think our past experience helped us out a lot with having it together to play in front of those people.
No doubt.
Luckily we came together and gelled. So for a band to not have a gig, all we did was rehearse. So for us to put ourselves out like that was pretty ballsy.
Sure.
So we jumped out of an airplane together and hoped that the parachutes would open, and luckily they did. And we had a great time with those crowds. The Alter Bridge crowds are really super accepting. Oh, they seem to be. You got to work for them.
Right.
But once they take you in, it's pretty awesome.
No doubt, man. I'm curious for you as a singer. It's no secret at all that Miles is considered one of these elite voices out there right now. For many people, they consider him to be the voice today. For you as a singer, not that you need to learn any lessons after this much time, but do you watch a guy like that and learn from his performances or from what he does, or is that just do you just sit there and enjoy what he does?
Both. I think if you're a smart singer, not that I'm the smartest, but I think if you play the game right, you should watch and learn. And unlike this guy performs at a high level every night, he sounds amazing. He sounds on pitch. So I watched that show like just about every night from the side of the stage, and I watched how he worked, technique, what they were doing through their monitors. I really sort of took it all in. And he's a really nice guy, really down to earth. And the times that we did get to click a little bit were really cool. And I just think he's great. I think he's as good as everybody says he is.
Sure.
And I've watched him work up close, and I think he's great.
No doubt.
But I see, it also takes a great, monitor mix, and the front of house is great, and credit where credit's due. The guy's good.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure to see him work.
No doubt, man. Well, dude,
I learned that I got to perform my ass off was what I learned.
Yeah, you couldn't have many off notes on those shows, could you?
Oh, man. You really got to have your shit together.
No doubt, man. Well, dude, speaking of that, you got to have your shit together again starting tonight as you guys go out. Totally different audience, I'm going to assume, but another rabid fan base being out there with Tesla. What are you expecting from these shows?
I really have no idea, but I'm going to say that the crowd that comes out to see Tesla, they got to. I've been sort of watching the set on YouTube. I haven't listened to that much of their stuff they've released late, in the late. But their crowd seem to be rock and roll as anybody else. I think a crowd that comes out to see a live show like that just wants to be rocked.
Right.
They don't want to be hit over the head. I think with Cookie Monster vocals, I'm not going to go, any of that stuff. But I think, I hope in my heart that they'll be accepting. And once we nail down a song or two and we're in the thick of it, it'll show itself. But I always give the crowd credit. I always think people are there to really enjoy themselves. And I think if they experience a positive, high-energy bunch of guys that are really enjoying what they're doing, I think the crowd will see that, and we'll all get along really well.
No doubt, man. Well, Ray, it's been however many years, that you've been doing this. And when you were a kid, did you, and by a kid, I mean whenever you picked up a microphone, whether it was 10 years old or 6 years old or 20 years old, whenever it was that you decided this was going to be your livelihood, did you ever think that you'd still be doing this and still be doing it at a high level this far down the line?
Well, that's a great question. I honestly didn't know, because there's been so many ups and downs. I'm surprised that I'm still alive. Number one,
right? I'm
surprised that I am still able to do this. I think I always hoped that I would be able to do this for as long as I lived. I plan to sing to the grave. But I'm just grateful. I can't explain. I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful that I'm still able to do this. Yes, that I have my health. You hear that all the time. Mm-hmm. Oh, at least you got your health. And you're like, that's bullshit, that's so silly. That's a bumper sticker.
Right.
But man, it's so important, and you need great guys around you. You need to keep yourself centered. I definitely don't believe my own hype. I've always believed that I need to work harder all the time. I'm grateful, man. But I never thought that I'd still be here doing this.
Sure.
So I'm really lucky. I've had people be like, Ray, man, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I've done some other things, and this is the best. This is what I know how to do best. This is what feels comfortable. I feel like I'm in my own skin here.
Right. No doubt, man. Well, dude,
but, you visualize it as a kid. You visualize that moment when you're on the mic and the lights come up and you're that guy.
Right.
And I get to do that, so it's cool.
No doubt, dude. It's funny. It's like such a parallel for me. I remember when I was 6 years old, I used to sit under my dad's pool table listening to baseball games and pretending into a tape recorder that I was going to be on the radio talking about the baseball games. And now I've been on the radio for 20 years. It's the same thing, man. You almost, if you visualize it as a kid and you stick to it, it happens. And it is a testament to you that you've been doing it for this long and really at a high level. I mean, some people will say, well, it never had the big blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as a musician, it's not all, once you get in the business, it's definitely not about becoming 800 million sales. You know what I mean? A lot of times it becomes the creative outlet and still be able to produce what you love to do and having a crowd accept it. No?
Oh, big time. It's all about connecting and having that and getting the opportunity to do that. I used to sing when I was a kid because I wanted to be a rock star.
Right.
Now I sing because I literally have to. Okay. I mean, it's the only thing, that I find that brings real pure joy. Those moments you live for to get in the middle of the set, to get to that point is a lot of hard work. But once you're there and you're in the box, there's nothing like it. So I'm grateful that I get to do that.
No doubt, man. Well, dude, for people that want to check it out, as everybody should, the name of the new album is The Collision of Love and Hate. The band is Weapons of Anew, spelled A-N-E-W, not A space N-E-W. So get it right so that you can get it. And Ray, where can people find out more about the band and, where you're going to be, et cetera, et cetera?
We're weaponsofanew.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place. So you just type in Weapons of Anew and we'll pop right up,
Sure. No doubt, man. Well, Ray,
we keep active on social media like motherfuckers.
Well, that's good, man. And you know what? In today's world, that's almost a necessity. You really kind of have to do that.
I mean, it's 24/7 with that stuff. You have to let people know, because I think with today, the way it is, and ADD is just is a way of life. People will forget about you in a day if you don't just at least drop them a note.
Yep. Exactly. You need to give them 140 characters so that they remember your name today for tomorrow, right?
Right. Weaponsofanew.com, baby.
There you go. Well, Ray, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the release. So what would you like us to wrap this interview up with? And maybe tell us a quick story about the song.
Oh, wow. Let's do Blood from Stone.
No, I already did Blood from Stone. I opened with Blood from Stone.
Oh, you did already?
Yeah.
I love that song, man. People, let's play Undone.
All right. And why that one?
Undone is we wrote it in the studio. I don't think I was feeling very, how do I explain the song? I needed to get positive. I was in a very negative space, and I needed to sort of lift myself out of it. And this song helped me do that. And I purged myself with these lyrics. And the chorus is kind of special to me. I really like the way it hooks. I just like some tunes on this record, are what they call, you wouldn't know, not something I would listen to normally. And this song seems to be something that I really enjoy playing live. So Undone to me is the shit.
All right, well, let's check it out right now. This is Undone. It is Weapons of Anew right here on your Classic Metal Show.